At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit ActiveDay.com to apply.
So we're naming this show, what, Grease Creamin'?
Nick drinks that Cali cream.
Oh, that movie is ruined for me.
Raunchy ass movie.
Yeah, I've done that show a few times.
From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. Broadcasting from the Turn, that's Jim, that's Whitney, I'm Nick. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
Hello, friends. We are into our summertime. We are going on little trips around, I was going to say the world, but really just an hour radius.
Well, you
as far
are.
as I go.
Very small radius.
Some of the rest of us are going farther.
Where are you
I'm going to Portugal. So
I'm
is
going to
Jacob.
Portugal.
What? Are you the
We
same
were supposed
person?
to tell them we were all going to Portugal
Is this
together.
did we not get the invite? What's
Well,
Yeah.
well, I'm not part of your swinger
But
club,
Laura's
so
still
I don't know
coming,
what
right?
your
Yeah,
newsletter
Laura-
is.
I thought I was part, but I guess I'm not either.
Oh no, you're getting kicked out of the swinger club.
I
This is how
know.
you find out.
This is a shitty way to find
Hey,
out.
you know what, bro? We'll start our own. Yeah. You don't worry,
the
man.
two of you,
I'm not going to let them push you around.
If you're interested in being in Nick and Jim's Swinger Club, feel free to email podtherapyguys@gmail.com.
Somebody buy nickandjimswingerclub.com right now.
Is there a left?
We'll build a tree house.
with
it's
a
not
no
back
girls
in this
allowed
week.
sign.
There's a swing.
It'll be a tire swing, obviously. That's what this is. It's the swinger.
Yeah, what are you
club.
guys talking about?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Patreon.com/therapy. You can hear all about some trips we're doing, some movies we're watching.
Wait, when are
getting
you going to
advice.
Portugal?
August.
Oh, okay. I'm going in July.
Oh.
Oh, well, maybe if there's any Portugal left after Jacob's been there.
I know.
right.
Yeah.
Tear it on down.
Shut that place down.
I'm excited.
Yeah, been an outbreak of diseases they haven't seen.
Yeah.
But, made in America, baby.
Oh, someone just that I was at dinner with earlier was saying that Wisconsin is the place to go.
I do like Madison. I've been to Madison
I
several
didn't
times. I like
ask where they
Madison.
were.
Have you,
they
Nick?
just-
Have you been to Wisconsin?
Oh, yeah.
He said it's
There's
beautiful.
two trips.
yeah.
Oh, I've been all over
No, here's the thing.
Wisconsin.
There are two vacations that everybody from the Midwest goes on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you've went on one of or two of these.
Okay.
The Black Hills,
What's that?
Mount Rushmore,
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
South Dakota?
or
Yeah.
or the Wisconsin Dells.
What's
Oh,
that?
the Dells.
Is that where they make the milk? The farmer in the
Probably.
Dell?
Yeah. It's exactly
What
like
is
that.
the Dells? I'm honestly
The Wisconsin
asking.
Dells it's kind of like a imagine like hard to describe, but like a typical like lake community.
Okay.
Okay, in the summertime where the population like quadruples because everyone's in
It's
that.
like Michigan.
It's a
Boating
lake
and
town.
stuff. Okay.
But it's they've got it a lot. The best way to describe it is a lot of mini golf and go-kart tracks.
Oh,
Sold.
that's amazing.
That sounds great.
Jim loves
I
that.
like all those
okay,
things.
You ever watched the movie The Great Outdoors?
Yes. Yeah. I
Oh,
remember
fucking
movie.
love that
Yeah.
movie. Add that to the list.
Yeah, that's a
Great.
good one to
Okay.
add to my movie list.
Outdoors.
Where they go, they do the go-karts, and then he's the other guy's out hitting golf
Yeah,
balls on the range.
that's where
whatever.
they're at?
No, that's not where they're at, but
Okay.
that's essentially what the Wisconsin does.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I like this
Oh,
idea.
that looks beautiful.
Wisconsin is pretty good.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Yeah, they
Again,
said it's
too far
beautiful.
away.
Yeah.
But I like
and
I like,
cheap to
I
visit.
like your other suggestions. You know, the suggestion.
Honestly,
of the
Michigan,
haunted
too.
Clown Motel.
I wanna go
I'm
to
not going that
Michigan.
far.
So we
Just
watch.
get on a plane.
No.
You
Laura
lazy
and I-
Planes are
ass.
scary.
Laura and I watch a lot of travel shows on PBS,
Ah.
and so Samantha
Of course.
Brown. Do you know Samantha Brown?
Yeah, Sammy
Yeah.
B. We go
Yeah.
way back.
So she's got a show on there, Places to Love, and she did one in Traverse City, Michigan.
Oh.
And we watched that and we're like, holy shit, this is really cool. Like, this would be like a really fun trip.
It's amazing to me that Laura, who is one of the cooler people I've ever met in my life, is at all entertaining the idea of the Midwest as a place she would ever go
She
to.
loves it.
It's weird how she
I know.
unironically loves it.
It's so great.
And I just think, no, she's secretly shitting on this place the whole time. It's just like, no, this is great. Like, I love everything.
She really likes it.
Yeah. She's like cool. Like, I feel like she could like be a Manhattan chick. Is that where cool people
Well, she
live?
lived in Manhattan.
See?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn, I'm really good at this. I know people.
You know Laura really well.
I do. Yeah. Patreon.com/therapy. You can support the show. You can also help Jim come up with more movies to watch during the summertime or suggest trips.
Showgirls.
Oh, there you go. My son will love that.
He will.
That's a solid
And
movie.
any teen boy.
Yeah. Striptease.
Especially if you show him Saved by the Bell first.
Well, here's the thing.
Yes.
Here's the thing. He'll love it. He will. Actually, I think he'd hate it.
Yeah.
He'd hate watching it with you.
Oh, of course.
I think that's
That was one of
Like-
the worst things growing up, was going to movies with your family and then they just have like the obligatory sex scene in there and you're like, this fucking sucks. Like I think modern film has kind of gotten rid of that now. Like it's amazing how the standards have changed. You go back and see things like, what was this fucking rated? What was Grease rated? Like now that we've gone
PG.
over the content of that.
Yeah. No, all those movies are PG.
That today would not.
But there was also a time when like you could have brief nudity or something like that, like people showering or something like that in a movie, and that wouldn't get an R rating.
Yeah, no.
It'd still be like a PG or PG-13.
It's interesting how many
like a little
scenes there
non-sexual
are.
nudity or something.
Yeah, like, oh God, I wanted to watch Disney's The Three Musketeers, which if you think back, that's the one with Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh,
I loved the
It was
Three Musketeers.
really good. And Cardinal Richelieu is played by the guy who plays Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
Tim Curry?
Yes.
That's
Oh,
it.
That's it. I was
okay,
like, cannot think of it.
It's a really great cast. Like, it's really Christian O'Donnell, I think, is the
Chris O'Donnell.
that
Chris
one.
O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Robin.
So Robin. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Those of us who
You
know.
were in my head.
Yeah.
Go on.
But yeah, I wanted to watch that with the kids, and I'm like, great. And I'm like, oh, we should fire this up. It's on Disney. And my wife's like, hey, double check it, because like I don't know if it's appropriate. And I'm like, it's a Disney movie. What are you talking about? And like I look it up on the web, and I'm like, oh no, there's like full on sex scenes and like partial nudity and all that shit. I'm like, what the fuck, Disney? Like,
Well, that's what I
our
asked
childhood
about
was weird.
Pirates of the Caribbean. I was like, people. I mean, there's no blood, but they're like dying. They're just
Oh, yeah.
killing people left.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, what is
a
this
lot
rated?
of people
A
get
lot
stabbed
of-
right in the fucking throat in
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
And you're just like, when you rewatch it, you're like, holy shit,
I'm like,
a lot of people just
a
died.
lot of dying
Yes.
for PG-13.
Yeah,
I'm
they're like
oh.
raiding a town and stealing women, and you're like, huh.
Yeah.
This is not the way I remember the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we need summer movie suggestions. But patreon.com/therapy, support the show. It is deeply appreciated. And we always appreciate you joining in and being on the Discord and giving us some live chat feedback to the questions. And it turns into a lot of great dialogue. And of course, you get the show a day earlier and without any ads. But we've got some great questions for today's episode. And we're leading it off with a topic we've never really gotten into before. I'm pretty excited about this. And it's titled Gray Rocking a Narcissist. It's a cool idea. So it's from our friend Be Gay Do Crimes, who says, hey all, here's another question that was also posted on Discord. So great fact there. If you're out there and you're like, hey, I want to ask questions. I don't know if I really want the whole like show experience on it, but I do like feedback. Get on the Discord. We have channels where people just put up questions and just get, group feedback. So really cool way just to get the dialogue going. But anyway, Be Gay Do Crimes writes, I think I just understood something. I picked up gray rocking from videos I saw from YouTube recently. I realized...
Should I know what this is?
I'll explain it.
Okay, great.
I realized that it was one of the strategies I was already using when dealing with my mother, who has some narcissistic traits. When I'm around her, the choice is usually to either appease, fight, or shut down. I learned then to be very sensitive to situations when someone is not happy with me, and I would start being careful, choosing my words, holding my tongue when I can. Then I learned to focus on practical information and focus on empathy to capital H handle the person in front of me like a dangerous animal that could pounce at any second. It made it so I shut down my emotions and don't express them to feel safe. And of course, it has backfired. These days I end up feeling lonely because I constantly notice the slightest of hints that people might be unhappy with me. I'm also extra cautious with expressing myself. I think it causes me to sabotage the process of making friends or feeling genuine with people. It feels like there's always a fake facade between me and myself and anyone around me. I want to break that habit. How can I do that? Be gay, do crimes, pronouns are he and him, age is 41. And just as a general show note, because BGay didn't unpack like what is gray rocking. So usually it's kind of like hiding in plain sight. So like you're dealing with somebody who's toxic, manipulative, excessive, angry, volatile, and you just kind of take this like kid's gloves approach. They call it gray rocking because it's like blending into the background. You're just a gray rock in this. You're giving them nothing. Nothing to piss them off. So like when somebody's looking for a fight with you kind of thing, and you're like, okay, if I give them sass, if I give them energy back, they will escalate,
right?
And then I will escalate, right? And if I react
because
to
Jim's sass is
right,
well known,
my sassiness is very strong, or I feel hurt, and so they're yelling at me and they're being cruel to me, and so like now I'm like being subdued and like I'm seeming affected emotionally. That could piss them off too, because like, oh, now you're gonna fucking pout. Why don't you take accountability? Blah blah blah. And so like anybody who's like this kind of toxic mess. Gray rocking is often this method that people kind of pick up where it's just emotional neutrality, just kind of like subdued and just hide. But this is what BGay's talking about, is that growing up with a narcissistic parent, he learned how to like gray rock.
Right.
Now he looks it up and realizes, a lot of people that have survived narcissistic people in their lives or excessive people in their lives also describe this strategy where they learn to be like numb and like held back and reserved and just wait for the person to punch themselves out basically.
Gotcha.
And then you just kind of move on. But he's saying like, yeah, that sucks because that kind of became a fake version of me that now I hold and I need to break through that.
Is there, and because when I picture the term gray rocking and that numbness you talk about, I kind of imagine like a subdued emotion underneath, but like I imagine it would be actually like a lot of anxiety underneath, right? Because you're trying to not be noticed.
Right.
So it's like turbulent inside, even though you're like outward is
calm
kind
and
of
collected
like,
outside, just kind of giving them nothing. It's a poker face. And it's like it's depriving this fiery person of oxygen, basically. You're non-reacting to them. And, but then it also sucks because then this toxic person often has like permission to keep doing their bullshit, right? Because they're not experiencing a consequence. But then it's also tough because you've probably tried to like do consequences and get angry back at them, but they will always escalate and make it worse. And you've realized like the fastest way to get through this unfortunate experience with this person is just to like be cool, let it pass. Yeah. And then, you'll be around friends or family that see this person lose their shit and they're like, what the fuck is this? And you're like, you all just like suddenly stare off, like you're just ignoring this and moving on. And yeah, it's an adaptive strategy, which sucks because then, you do kind of become detached and then there's like this facade. And I think also the thing BGay is talking about is like becoming hypersensitive now to like, oh, have I upset anybody? Because when you're living with somebody who is human nitroglycerin, like the slightest jostle, you're like very fucking aware of. Yeah. And then you move on and you meet other, people that are along the emotional continuum of normality. And then you're like, oh, are you okay? Did I offend you? And like, I relate to this a lot. Like I'm very jittery of like, oh shit, are we cool? Like, did I say the wrong thing or whatever? And like, that can suck, because it's like you're, then you're constantly vigilant for that and you don't need to be.
Yeah. I feel I'm gonna throw Peter under the bus here for a minute. Take that. Take that.
Big Petey getting his medicine now.
I feel like this is how Peter is. And it's from similar scenario. A parent in your home displayed narcissistic tendencies. And so going throughout our relationship is kind of interesting because in some ways this is horrible. But early on in our relationship, I feel like that was helpful. Bear with me. I don't think it was good. But it's like he didn't really show his true feelings about things. So in some ways, I think back early on in our relationship and shit I might have done that annoyed him or like whatever.
Things sure were great when he would shut the fuck up and let me do whatever I want.
No, I mean, I think if he just spoke his mind, I'd be like, what? Like, you're upset that I like asked you for a glass of water or whatever? And so internally he'd be like, oh my gosh, why is she doing that? But I can't show my true emotion. So he kind of like suppressed. Anyway, till rapport was built, and then now, obviously here we are like 18 years later, and even before that, in the last few years, he's done a great job working through this. But this is still a conversation that comes up with like new people he meets. If there's anyone in his like line of work that he has great respect for, gets very sensitive to any feedback because he's like, oh, did I do something wrong, or I can't, you know what? I put myself out there a little bit, and you're very sensitive to the response. Even down to one, this was kind of awesome. He was on a call that was video recorded, and he left this call, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I sounded so stupid on this call." He's really beating himself up. He's like, that the guy who I was responding to me was this expert in this field, and he responded in a way I know he thought I shouldn't have even asked that question. Oh, yeah. And so I was like, all right, we'll sit with it, rewatch it through. I'll rewatch it. Because he's like, will you watch this and tell me your thoughts? Honestly, or he did end up showing me the clip eventually. It was nothing. And he even said that he rewatched. He goes, oh, yeah, like that was nothing. But his experience in that moment was like, it's like you're transported back to that response because you're so sensitive to that. It's like when you're raised for 18 years under the roof of your parent who might be like critical, or their moods are all over the place, or you don't know what they're going to be upset about or be okay with. It's like, and your feelings are not okay. Like you cannot show that you're upset. Only I can. And you need to be the child that's behaved. Like, you need to have your shit together. So then you learn, all right, I just have to have my shit together no matter what. But your own emotions are so suppressed. It's like, you can be you. It's okay. Right. So
it's a good time to talk about golf.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. This thing that's like,
everybody drink.
It's,
I need my water.
The reels versus the feels.
Okay.
Like what? Like within
like
the golf
Instagram
swing,
reels, and I'm just kidding.
Within the golf swing, what you actually feel is happening versus what is actually happening.
Okay,
because like in your brain, how you see yourself from your perception, you think you're doing one thing, and it's not until you actually see it on video where you're like, "Holy shit, I was way off."
I see.
Like it was funny because after the tournament today, I was hanging out with the guys and we were talking. And
you played golf today?
You should do more.
You never play golf.
Well, I didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to tell the audience.
Yeah, we've started strategically asking you about it before we record. That way you get it out of your system.
But here we are.
Yeah, it's weird. We didn't bring it up. Yeah, still found a way.
I just get to talk about it a second time.
Yeah. Go on.
So anyway, we were talking about golf swings and like trying to take like a 3/4 swing. And I had said, at one point my coach is like, just take a 3/4 swing, and did it. And then she showed me the video of it, and what I thought was 3/4.
It was all zoomed in on your ass the whole time. You're like, huh?
No, it was front on, so it was crotch area.
Oh, good. Yeah,
But my backswing, like I was all the way up. So anyway, but it's kind of that perception of like, when you become super sensitive to something, then the reels versus the feels, what you feel you're doing is so far off base.
Right.
And we see this all over. It's anything like when when the saying that I've heard in the song is like, once you drink so much wine or how I fucked it up. I can't remember.
Everybody drink again.
Back to
drink
one.
Yeah. It's
Sorry,
golf.
We'll just start
every
over
time
the
you
show.
play golf.
Don't worry, nobody will ever hear any of this.
God damn
we'll totally delete it.
I'm gonna have to come back to this. I will come back to this.
Okay.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. But like this idea of like,
I think it's
when
you take a whiskey drink,
way,
you take a vodka drink.
When you're all the way on one end, anything shifted just a little bit to one side looks like the far extreme.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
You see this in politics all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like where one side is like, holy shit, you're accusing us of this, and it's like, no, we're just saying just a little bit of
Yeah, no, this is a good point. And like that's exactly what I think the writer's talking about here is like whenever you've lived your whole life in this volatility.
Got it.
There we go.
Right,
I bought you the time.
It was once you've tasted blood, the wine seems too thin.
Oh,
ooh,
damn.
dark.
That was way darker than I thought it was going to be.
I was like, wine? Yay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, shit. What kind of golf is
Ask
he
a
playing?
Catholic.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ask a Catholic. Yeah, but I like your point here that there is sort of like a tolerance that's built up and a normality. And it's really hard whenever you enter your adulthood. I mean, BK is like 40, and he's like, dude, like since a child, like I've lived my adulthood with this hypersensitivity of I'm walking on eggshells around all these other humans. I'm so scared I'm going to upset the apple cart.
It's like how you survived and it worked.
Right. It worked. It was an adaptive skill. But then it also sucks. And like, I can appreciate where you're saying like, it sucks because I'm not genuine sometimes. Like, and I really relate to this. Like I've told you guys this, or I think I've said this before. And I think when I say it, you all just kind of like, huh. And you just don't like most things I say, I think you just don't fucking listen to me.
It's hard to know.
What's that?
Like, I admire how when, especially Jacob and Nick, because I don't see this with Whitney as much, but we'll be out doing something in the world. We've been friends for 8 years. Yeah.
Whitney, God damn it.
Yeah, you fuck up everything. But like, no, we'll be out in the world and something will happen that makes one of you unhappy. Like something just happened, like they brought the wrong thing, or like something, they didn't hear you or whatever. You're able to show disapproval to that person or that situation. And like, do it authentically. It's not right size. You're not throwing anything across, the fucking room, but you will disapprove vocally. And like, they'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Let me make that right.
Like
and
the airplane with Jacob.
It's fixed. And like, I'm just always sitting there in awe. Because I'm like, how did you do that? Like, how did you, in a situation, if you bring me the wrong thing, that's mine now. I'm going to have the wrong thing.
I will never tell you.
I don't want to have a problem. Like, I don't want to say anything wrong.
Yes.
I just, nope, it's cool. Or if like somebody gets volatile or whatever, like, I'm either going to gray rock and I think this has made me pretty useful in addictions environments, like de-escalate like a motherfucker, you know, and like, which if you've been that child in your household, like you've learned to like diffuse the bombs, don't let the parents fight, like, hide the other sibling, like you're going to get everything low key.
Yep.
And like, that'll make you a pretty good therapist for certain crisis interventions. But it sucks when it becomes like imbued as your personality, because then you can't tolerate anybody else like being unhappy without having to feel like you have to fix it, or like being authentic, like Be Gay says, where it's like, I can't access my genuine disapproval or my upsetness and say it authentically because I never want to upset anybody else and create a situation.
There's actually, when you brought up addictions work, that kind of reminds me of this, because when we work with families, we get to see a lot of the family dynamics and the family roles.
No, yeah.
Because, and I like to look at it as like the family is almost kind of like, it's like a cherry pie.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yes.
Where,
where's this
like
going?
the classic Warrant song.
Oh,
that's what I was thinking.
Hold on. This gets even better.
I'm sure.
Hold
it
on.
will. You were just talking about drinking blood.
We're excited. Keep
go
going.
You're just on the edge of your seats. I
I'm
know.
pretty scared, actually. I've got the cancel button right here.
Like when you pull out that first piece of cherry pie, the filling on the inside all kind of slides out, right? Because it's got to fill that empty spot.
Yes.
Okay.
Shut up, Whitney.
No,
he's doing fine.
That's basically
My
what
mind
happens.
is in the gutter.
I know. I'm just so disappointed in you.
Keep going, Nick. Go on.
That happens.
We don't need the hand gestures. It just is not helping.
Christ. Okay.
Your cherry pie is being maneuvered with 2 fingers, and it's not helping us.
It's up and down.
What happens if a grown man tastes it? Do they cry?
Actually, I had a really good
Why does it
point.
have to be a
I had a
man?
really good point. The show is off the rails. But when the person in the family who's got the problem, whether that be gambling, addiction, whatever, they're now out of the pie, right?
Yeah.
They're out of the picture. So all of these roles have to
Congeal into that.
in,
Yeah, the
right?
void is filled.
Yeah, and so everybody in the family ends up taking a role. And what happens with the kids is you usually get, and this probably oversimplifies it quite a bit, but you get the family hero.
Right.
Who takes over for the other parent that is now withdrawn.
Yeah.
That has to take care of dad,
Right.
because dad's all fucked up. So mom's got to do that. So no one's there to take care of the kid. That falls on the family hero.
Yeah.
And then you've got the scapegoat, and then you've got the lost child. You've got the mascot.
Right.
You've got all of these different roles. And this actually kind of sounds like the role of the lost child.
Yeah.
The role of the lost
Yes.
child is really to just be the one that no one has to worry about.
Yeah.
Right.
That just sits quietly
Yep.
and doesn't just disappears into the background.
Yep.
Because it keeps everything calm.
I add no complexity to this equation. I'm fine. Please focus on others.
Yes.
You, by the way, a special request I'm making right now, this would be a really good deep dive for Monday content, is to do the whole family roles thing. It's been a while since I've done a refresher on it, and I think people find it fascinating.
Yeah.
Even though it's very much addiction targeted, but
Yeah.
like I think it's very relatable because there's a lot of that archetype
I should
stuff.
probably write that down because I will not remember.
That's a fair
And I'm going to need it to have video of you describing the cherry pie.
Just really showing us.
My hand gestures were fully appropriate.
Well, we're not live on Twitch, so people are just going to have to use their
I just have to say what
imagination.
Jacob's airplane story was because I thought about it last weekend. One of the people I was traveling with was the type of person when the plane stops and they stand up and just walk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jake could be not pissed, but would say something right now.
He would bring justice
Didn't
to
you
the
do that on a
situation.
plane, you said?
Oh, yeah.
I did, but because she was... If you get up and like book it out, I will think like, oh, there goes a somewhat rude person.
Sure.
But like if they're not in anybody else's way, cool.
Okay.
This person was like really inconveniencing other people because of what she was trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then never mind.
Like she was
Yeah.
blocking other people in and slowing
I
the
had
whole
to
process
correct
down
my
for
friend
everyone.
on the flight back. I said, you can't
My
do
friend
that.
Jacob is very upset at you.
You would be cussed out by some people.
That's right. I know people.
No, if you just get up, if you like just get to the front door and you're not in anybody's way, like I think you're kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
But I think it's silently.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you combat this or break
Right.
that habit?
Because
and...
Big A's saying like this is causing me to sabotage the process of making friends. I'm not feeling genuine with people. It feels like there's a facade around me, and I want to be sincere. I want to be real. But if I get the slightest hint that people might be unhappy with me, I get extra cautious and I kind of pull back.
Yeah, and the catch here is that my belief therapeutically is that conflict, I say this all the time, conflict can bring intimacy. Like it brings that connection. So when we're scared of conflict and veering away from it, we think that is helpful. It's like, oh, that's what we were trying to do. But really kind of trying to shift that narrative from conflict's bad, that will ruin relationships.
Yes.
Or if you get upset with somebody, they may never want to talk to you again. Instead, it's if I can share my opinion, my truth, whatever my disgruntled opinion is with a friend, then that gives them a chance to change and you guys can be closer. Yeah. So it's kind of like conflict's okay and conflict brings connection.
I love that you said that because I think a lot of people, me included, our worst fear is
it's
conflict.
So hard.
And it's very hard for us to, and we're pleasantly surprised sometimes when we have conflict with, balanced humans.
Yes.
And it turns out okay.
Yes.
And then afterward you're like, I was so fucking avoidant of that.
Yeah.
You would have felt like gun to my head to get me to tell you the truth about what I was really feeling in that situation.
Yep.
I would have taken it to the fucking grave just to avoid this.
Just to keep the peace.
You'll do it in your relationships. You'll do it in your marriage.
Yes.
Like you'll just hide all of your feelings about shit because you're so scared. Like that you're going to upset this nitroglycerin situation. And a lot of times it's not true.
I would probably be exactly in B-Gay Do Crime's position if I didn't have the group of friends or I didn't grow up with the group of friends I grew up with.
How so?
Oh.
Because, I mean, the same thing. Like, I when I was home as a kid and you're always told, like, you're in the way,
Yeah,
stop
you're in
it,
the way,
whatever.
yeah.
So you're told, you're kind of trained to not cause conflict, to just be out of everyone's way, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so
Very
when
Gen X.
Yeah, and so, like, I would probably agree. I'd be in the exact same boat that you are when there's conflict. It just causes a lot of anxiety, and I still have that. But it was different with my friend group because with my friend group, we would get into like huge fights.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And then an
Just
hour
be over
later,
it.
we'd just be like, hey, let's go hang out. Let's go do whatever. You know?
Okay.
And then we would just do that, and like, it was just a series of like, we'd get into big arguments, drag down fights. And then we'd just be like, cool. All right. That's over. Let's go.
So you learn to trust that process.
Yeah. You just kind of learn to trust like,
It'll be
hey,
okay.
conflict's okay.
Yeah.
You're going to get through this and you kind of grow.
Yeah. That's really cool that you had that experience.
Well, you need to, that's kind of where I was going to go. My advice is there needs to be practice. So first changing that thought process to like conflict brings that connection, but also you have to start practicing. So I know you said be gay, that this is inhibiting you potentially from making new friends and having new connections. Do you have even like one friend or a partner or anyone, a family member who you do feel like you can just start practicing that. It doesn't take
like
much.
that.
You just need one.
Yeah.
One or
Your
two.
assignment this week is to pick a fight.
Pick a fight.
I like
Fight
this
club.
a lot.
You have
because
to
that
practice.
this is like, I often call therapy emotional yoga. And to me, this is that kind of feeling of like, what an uncomfortable pose. Because I relate to this writer. Like, if you told me like, hey, pick somebody in your life who you have had a little bit of a struggle with and animosity with, and find an opportunity to healthily discuss that with them and permit some tension and some conflict and allow that to lead toward resolution. I'd be like, oh, fuck you. Like, I'm not doing that. But like, boy, would I appreciate the health of that.
Yeah.
But like this other challenge that Bigay talks about, that he suspects falsely that people don't like him. Suspects falsely that he's done something wrong and is carrying that delusion, not delusion, it's too strong of a word, but that cognitive distortion around, and that's causing him to like pull back from friends because he's constantly thinking like, oh, I screwed up, I screwed up. And so many people in the years of the show have written in.
Yeah.
We've even had people post Scoop Fest write in and say, I really wanted to hang out with you guys more and I really liked meeting you, but oh my goodness, I felt so awkward and I'm sure I did this thing wrong. And we're like, what are you talking about? Like, no, that wasn't notable at all. Like, what are you? No, of course not. You're lovely. But like, I think humans are extremely self-conscious, and this fear of like,
Whenever they come to me with that, I'm like, yeah, I did notice that.
and much more.
So
I
don't
was
go to
glad you
Jacob.
left.
That's excellent
I
life
was
coaching.
so put off.
We were all very relieved.
Yeah,
When-
we were extremely
you
uncomfortable.
had walked
until
into the
you
room
left.
and then you would
I
left.
had
and we
a
were very
great buzz
thankful.
going, and now it's gone.
Great. How do we challenge that distorted thinking that we all get stuck into, that Bigay is talking about, where we say, I'm constantly fearful that I have bothered somebody, that I have offended somebody, that like I have created a tension, and that causes me to pull back? Like, how do we like nudge that cognitive distortion with like reality testing, or what is a method that we can use
Well,
there?
how often does it happen the other way around? How often are you so annoyed or so put off by someone just having a conversation with you
Yeah.
that you really notice it?
Right.
Not even that you take action, but you just notice like, oh, I'm annoyed by this person.
Yeah.
And I bet it's not that often.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree with that, and I think it's kind of that again, that idea of like, what does it look like from the other person's perspective?
Right.
Yeah. How often do you feel that way about other people? And it's
Right.
like, oh, I never feel that way. Okay, well then they probably don't either.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it was.
They're
it-
definitely
that-
still not thinking about it.
Yeah, and that's what helped me a lot. Doing any kind of public speaking. One of the first rationalizations that I had about it, I was always get nervous in school, like if I had to speak in front of people, and then I just kind of realized, like, how many times have I really been listening to anything anybody has said?
Nobody cares.
Never.
Yeah, right. They're all
Okay, so
zoned out.
like 90% of these people are exactly like me. They're not listening to
Right.
anything I say.
Right.
And then it's like, wow, my anxiety just dropped quite a bit. Like
Yeah.
I can do this now.
I like both those suggestions of normalizing it from that lived experience. I kind of relate it to when you're walking around in sandals and like a little pebble falls in your shoe or whatever. Like, yeah, that's uncomfortable. You shake it out, and like that's it. It passes, and 5 minutes later, you do not remember that incident happened.
Oh, okay. I thought that was going to go a different direction.
Oh, what did you think I was going to say?
You thought he was
'Cause,
going to go Taylor Swift?
No. No, like you notice one,
Oh, right.
but if you got a bunch, it's
Yeah.
like, nah, it's just no big deal. Like it actually, because there's the only thing worse than having one pebble in your shoe is having, or it's better to have 100 than it is to have one.
I see what you mean.
Right.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
now you're just
know.
walking without
Yeah,
shoes
because then
on.
it's just then it's
you don't
just
feel
Oh,
it, but the
yeah.
one will
exactly.
bother you.
One will bother you.
Yeah, which is, I think, another true metaphor that we'll probably find an opportunity to use in another letter.
It's better to have a shoe full of pebbles than a
Yes.
shoe full of bees.
Old man tangements.
Old man
Parables.
We got
Back
to
in my day,
But anyway, the point just being like, yeah, you probably sometimes do or say something that's slightly off-putting. God knows I have, and I think it's just these moments where people go, huh, all right, and then they shake that pebble out, and then they just move the fuck on, and it doesn't like endure, right? So even if we did something that is offensive or bothersome, it can't be permanent. It's just this quick little oops, and then people just shake that out and they move on from it.
Yeah. I had a client once that would, when they were feeling a lot closer to a person, so this isn't someone they would have like met recently, but it was someone they were still building, a friendship with, they would definitely try and rationalize, but sometimes the overthinking just wins. We spiral still, and doesn't matter how much we fight it, it just continues. But but they would occasionally, do not do this every single time that you're like spiraling, but occasionally if it really was setting in, you're like, man, is this person upset with me? Are they annoyed with me? Did I say something? They would kind of like gently reach out and ask the person like, hey, like, we're cool, or are you upset with me? Like, and so you have to be kind of delicate with that. You don't want to be asking every single week, are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? But if it was something that was really sitting with them, like, I feel like they were really quiet, it probably is just them, but I'm not sure. Maybe saying like, hey, you seemed kind of quiet when we hung out the other day. Is there something I did? It kind of like opens up the door. Whether they say it or not, that's on them. If there is something that bothers them or not, like that's totally on them. But it kind of ended up reinforcing over time as we continued to meet and we kind of like revisit this same dynamic over time. They now get to a point where they're like, no, I know it's not me. And it kind of reinforced positively after maybe 2 or 3 times over a year of kind of checking with that person. Are you upset? If they were like, okay, no, I know they're not. I just have to sit with that a little longer.
I like that a lot.
Jim used to do that to me.
Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
I text him like every once in a while
Jim
about
Jobin?
2 a.m. I'm just like, hey, man, are we
cool,
okay?
right?
He texted me right now.
No, we used to do that when we used to work together.
Yes.
Like you would kind of check in like, hey, we're good, right?
I did.
You kind of you left. You didn't say anything when you left. We're good, right? And I'm like, but then like that was years ago, and now it doesn't happen anymore. So either he realizes that we're okay, or he doesn't give a shit.
I think I've gotten to the point I just don't care. I assume we're not. I don't give a shit anymore.
There's an understanding.
But I like that suggestion, Whitney. That there is a time and a place. There's a right amount of reality checking to do. Yeah. It can become compulsive and we can over rely on that muscle and we can constantly seek reassurance and then we are creating challenges in our relationships and that's not good either, right? We don't want you to scratch the itch so much that you're inflaming it, right? So but be gay, do crimes, this is a very relatable thing and I can't wait to see the Discord on this.
I know.
This
I'm
is
curious
something
what
that
other people have
people's
used
lived
too.
experiences are going to be really interesting because even just knowing that the people that have been part of our community for so long, so many people have at some point shared a story of like, hey, I did have a narcissistic kind of person in my life and here's how I came up with bad adaptations. Here's how I've had to grow out of that and change out of that. So I'm really eager to read this, because I think it's going to be a really fun one. But great conversation topic. Thank you for this question. It's a really good one. And I hope that you do continue to challenge yourself. And I hope you do continue to trust that you are a full-ass adult. You're a good person. You don't have to constantly tiptoe on eggshells around everybody else. And if they become offended or something bothers them, trust them to tell you that or to get the fuck over it.
Yep.
Because a lot of times, you interact with people all the time. You step on toes all the time. Yeah. And I think about that all the time, especially since I started teaching at the university, teaching a class of 20 graduate students, you're delivering a 3-hour lecture. And I'm thinking to myself, I definitely tried a joke this night that did not work. Or I definitely said something that bothered one of these students.
Yeah.
But then I think okay, this can either be the hill they fucking die on. Yep. And they be like, fuck this guy forever for the rest of the semester. I hate this guy and I choose not to learn from him. Or they sleep it off, they get over it, they show up again, they give me another shot.
Usually what
how
happens,
many times is he going to do that? That's what she said.
They're just jealous that I got there
first. The limit does not exist.
There's not a limit. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to answer a question about making friends as a therapist.
Oh, boy.
Here we go. You're listening to
We don't have any.
Therapy.
Today's episode
Except
is
the
Start a
license
podcast.
Let's try to start a podcast.
Robert Brownie Jr., Mintz, Kayla Lansbury, Kevin Chamberlain, Ben Stanley, Adam Hathaway, Dan Martin, Liv, Heyo, Andrew Langmead, and Chad Meg. Would you like to sponsor the show? Become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. I've been up since 4 a.m.
Yeah, buddy.
Ew.
Yeah, no, we're not judging you.
I'm barely hanging on. All right. This is Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Continuing on. Jim, you're up.
All right, bring it.
How many continents are there?
Oh, fuck me. There's
That
the
was
Nina,
not an
the
option.
Pinta, the Santa Maria. I think, shooting off the hip, I'm going to go straight 7. I'm not even going to try to count it anymore. I'm just going to say 7.
2 points.
Yes!
All right.
Fucking got it. God damn, I'm good at geography.
He's just never going to see them all.
Yep.
Or be
Jacob.
able to list them.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I can do that.
No,
but I
Jacob.
think it's 7.
Yay.
Which of these is an example of an what's this word?
Tuberculosis.
Not looking great. Not
Oh, it's
looking
not.
great.
Onomatopoeia.
Oh, okay.
I had to read that multiple times before I got it.
How
Okay.
do you spell that?
So which of these is an example of an onomatopoeia?
Onomatopoeia.
So he inherently has to have options, so he can't get 2 points.
Yeah.
Does he?
Or you could just tell us what an onomatopoeia is.
I guess you could give your own
An
example?
onomatopoeia is a word that sounds like what it is.
Bang!
Yeah.
Pow!
That's it. Those are onomatopoeias.
Oh.
Sploosh.
Okay, so, yeah. Here are your
Sploosh,
options.
mainly.
Sploosh is an example of an onomatopoeia.
Giggle, boom, jump, friendship.
Friendship! Friendship! We're friendshipping right now.
That's what it feels like. I think boom was one of those.
I think I'm going to start doing that when I hug people. I'm
Yeah.
just going to shout friendship, and I'm going to stare into the sky when I do it. Friendship!
Seems like a good way to get people to stop
I
hugging
think you have to
I'll give you,
have a friend
yeah.
to do that.
I'll give you a point for the answer and a point for having the definition.
All right.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
That's
I like it.
done.
Solid.
Whitney,
Okay.
what do you call a triangle that has two equal sides?
Bruce.
Is it isosceles? I'm just going to say isosceles.
Isosceles? I hardly know are these.
Yay!
2 points?
Yes.
Yes.
Damn,
Look
girl.
at all of us.
Yeah.
We are smarter than fifth graders today.
Good for
I'm really
us.
proud of us. We're
Very
spinning
good.
it around again.
Let's go one more time.
All right.
We'll go until we miss one.
How many bones are in the adult human body?
Oh, good. We got it.
I was like, oh, shit.
Go ahead and give me
We're done.
options.
Okay. So your options are 204, 206, 201, or 208.
Oh my God, that's brutal.
I was
That is
like,
so mean.
it's low 200s. And the first option, I was like, oh, that's it.
That's
nope,
it
never
there.
mind.
I'm going to go with the high bar. So give me the biggest one. What was it? 208?
208.
I'll take 208.
No, that's 206.
Shit.
Oh,
All
you're
right.
close.
206. It
We're
was,
close.
but Pluto is no longer a planet.
Yeah.
Right.
Also depends on which parties you're at.
Right.
How many bones?
Jacob, what is the term for a word that is spelled the same forwards and backwards?
Oh, wow, you get all these.
Oh, that's,
Oh, shit. Oh, geez.
Oh, this is going to
I'll know it if I hear it.
You going to take options? Like a bitch? I only say that because I know it, and I'm hoping it passes all the way to me.
It's not going to pass to you.
No,
There's not-
then there'll
it's
be
just
options.
You don't
Simply
think it'll
not
get
going
through
to.
Whitney? I could get it.
All
Like race car.
right, give me the options.
Anagram, palindrome.
That's it.
It is.
Yeah.
He
Nice.
chose anagram, and he chose wrongly. Horoscope.
Palindrome.
All right, Whitney. Which planet rotates on its side compared to the others?
Oh, I know
didn't know
this.
this one.
I know
Is
this.
it Saturn?
I watch a lot of documentaries about space. So I fall asleep.
On its side. I think it's Saturn, but I'm going to take options.
Is it Saturn?
Shit.
Is it Neptune?
Mm.
Is it Venus? Or is it Uranus?
I'll bet it's that one. It's always on its side, isn't it?
I'm going to guess Saturn.
No.
Steel.
Pass to me. He can just shout steel.
I just did.
Onomatopoeia. No, he shouted steel
okay.
like a gentleman.
I don't.
Like a gentleman.
I will honor the code.
I think it's Neptune.
No.
And it's
Oh, it is
Uranus for the
Uranus.
win.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
All
put that
right.
Uranus
No
on
points
its
for
side.
Jim.
Let me get up in there.
Bitch.
Jim has 3 points.
Sure. He had
Yay,
50-50 guess.
Very good. We're done.
All right,
Yay.
excellent, everybody.
Round one was well done.
Doing really well. We've all learned something today. Short and sweet, making friends as a therapist. Hey, y'all, how do you make friends as a private practice therapist? I work in an office space where everyone keeps to themselves aside from minimal chit-chat if we are getting water. Outside of the office, I don't feel like I can talk about my job, which has become my primary identity. Thanks, Anonymous.
I think you live in like a weird black hole because I'm pretty sure like all my friends are therapists.
I don't know how you do that. Like, I was thinking about this the other day.
Well, they're LCSW.
I think it's a different kind of person that comes out of
Yeah.
social work because, like, I have
Very
realized
social.
recently, I find almost all my colleagues insufferable. And I think it's just, it continues to be the small sample size.
What's the common denominator, you think?
It ain't me. It ain't me.
All our
I'm
colleagues.
charming as fuck. No, I get, like, it just, I don't know.
Shame, come.
I feel like meeting other therapists that I get along with that have a sense of humor.
That's why we don't get along.
They're the exception to the rule.
No,
There's
you're
a lot of
you're
them.
right on that.
Okay.
A lot of them are just pretentious as fuck, and they just cannot wait to be condescending.
Social
and
workers have
lecturing.
seen some dark shit,
That's
so
what
like
you
we
need.
developed.
You need a grizzly social worker climbing out of the dirt.
Yeah.
Got feces in their hair.
Yeah.
They're just not putting on airs. They're just like, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Pretty much,
Half a
yeah.
bottle of brandy in. You're just like, Jesus.
But there is.
Are you okay?
We're scruffy. We're a scruffy bunch.
I think it is different though for you and I, Jim, than
Yeah.
it is for Whitney,
Okay.
because we work primarily in a female-dominated industry.
Nick and Jim Swinger Club has like no
No girls
females in
allowed.
there.
Remember?
Yeah.
That was on you. That's on you.
Yeah.
You
When,
excluded us.
.com.
I've had this issue not because of private practice, but just because I've mostly worked with females. So finding
Yeah.
other male friends
Right.
through work, like you can't. You
Yeah,
kind of have
that's
to
true.
go outside of work. And you
So
have
they
to find
have to
friends
be
outside.
male.
Well, I mean,
I was gonna say, I remember working with you. You were quiet and sat to yourself.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's how he is until we turn the
Probably.
mics
That
on,
keeps
too.
you from making friends. I don't
That's
know if
probably,
you knew.
yeah, that might be part of it as
Is this,
well.
are we doing the Nick intervention? Okay, great. Yeah, let's just get him.
Fine. Let's go for it.
Nick, I'm with you. When I'm at the shows, when I'm at work, that's exactly what I do.
That's fine.
Like
Sorry,
I
keep
don't
yourself.
go around making friends.
Yeah, you're there to work.
Like I'm here doing a gig.
Yeah.
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 Scowling.
Which I don't think is
I will often have noise canceling headphones in. Be like,
Yeah,
don't
so
even
an
come
audio
Yes,
guy.
right
I'm like,
now.
that was a
Don't
bad
even
idea.
during the shows.
Unplugged.
Like I can't during the shows, but like when the shows aren't running, I'm just hanging out backstage. It's at least 50-50 that
I
I've got
feel
noise
like you could
cancelers
get
in.
away with it. It'd be really funny if when he's not in his booth, he's still walking around with the full headset and just the jack is just dangling. I feel like, it's just the go fuck yourself signal.
You'll never see my jack dangling.
Hey-oh. High and tight.
Some advice that was given to me before I started private practice was from an older lady who's been doing this a long time, and
She's a lady.
yes,
Yeah.
and she said, if you're gonna do private practice, you need to find colleagues that you can do staffings, like
Yes.
debriefings with. Like that was her only. I mean, I'm sure if I
Right.
pushed, she would have given
It
other
comes up
advice,
a
but that
lot.
was like her number one thing. And so I know that's not necessarily friendships, but I almost kind of hear the writer saying like, hey, I can't talk with anyone else about work. And like in my mind, that is one way to do that, to get
Right.
kind of your work stuff out. Because
Right.
you're right, I don't talk to my friends outside of social or outside of clinic. Like I don't. I might mention like a funny story or something maybe a client shared, like that's not
Right.
related to anything, but like that's once in a
One of
blue
my
moon.
clients killed a hooker.
Yeah, it was
But
hilarious.
you will not believe how they did it.
I know. Or I might mention like, oh, they went on a hike and recommended that, like, you know,
Right.
I might say something like that, but like, I don't know. There's just I'm not going to tell
It is
them
a
about
real
it.
problem, though.
But it
like,
is.
in private practice, it is a real problem. It's one of the things that I warned a lot of my students that were preparing to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, the one that I ended up mentoring started working in substance abuse. And one of the things that we were talking about is that's it, as far as like fields go, that's one of the really neat things about the field is like it's so collaborative. It's inpatient. So you're hanging out with nurses, you're hanging out with doctors, hanging out with techs,
Oh, that's
hanging out with
fair.
other counselors. You're constantly staffing cases. You're running a house.
Yeah.
And so like you're doing activities together. You're running groups. There's a lot of group. And like sometimes you are just playing cards, you know, with like the clients. Like it's a much more like
They're not your friend, Jim.
Right. it helps.
Sometimes you're just planting little baggies of cocaine
Yeah,
on people.
Hey, that was a couple of times. Okay, I was reprimanded. I learned. But
By
no,
us.
Yeah, later, years later.
later.
That's right. But like what the writer's saying, when you're just in straight private practice, it's tough because the only time you want to be in the building is whenever you have sessions.
Yeah.
And you can't just like hang out. And like sometimes other like therapists crack their door open. That's sort of the universal signal of like, I'm around, like if you need me. But like everybody can only talk for a few minutes. You have another session
Yeah.
coming. And if you're just
Everything's not
spending-
overlapping. Your hour lunch is not going to be
Yeah.
the same as someone else's.
Your
Like,
day is based on what you're needed, you know,
Yeah.
that day. And so it's very, very hard to make friends in the industry. And my argument and what I've found like really good for me, I try not to make therapist friends. I really don't. Like, I
Go
mean,
on.
well, like, and I was thinking, Whitney, I will pay you a genuine compliment, okay? Because the other
Okay.
day I was just thinking about how insufferable so many of our colleagues are. And I was thinking like, God, it is so hard to find somebody that's just like hair down, chill, approachable. And I thought it's so weird that like I met Whitney and she's great, and like Nick, and like but it's like the batting average is very low for how often I meet another therapist and I'm like, this person's cool.
You're not wrong.
You know, like
Life
Emma, our
coaches are
intern who's in
delightful.
Illinois, I've talked to her through Zoom. Great girl. You know, she's a lot of fun, not pretentious. She's like, look at my fucking horses. And like, can I name them?
I bet she can get more pretentious.
Oh, she's going to be a bitch eventually. When she gets this doctorate, she's going to never shut the fuck up about it. But yeah, like, you know, it's very hard to find colleagues that you just like.
Yeah.
And like, this is something that other therapists throughout the years of our show have written in and said, you guys, I like this show because you're the only colleagues that I've interacted with every week that I actually like.
Yeah.
And it's because we're all sitting here like busting balls and being
You
chill.
can be
and, like,
human.
it's very hard.
A lot of therapists take themselves so seriously.
So seriously. And it's like, if you bring up anything, like, God damn, like there's no room to breathe. Like I've hung out with other therapists and like you try to lighten the mood with like a quick little joke about something that's clearly an exaggeration of like, oh, you know, this thing. And they'll be like, well, that would be culturally insensitive. And you're like, oh, would it be? I'll bet you're probably right. Yeah. Building that on an ancient Indian burial ground probably would. It's almost like I wasn't fucking serious.
Yeah. One would
like,
guess.
Weird, you know, like
You make one joke about Italians, and all of a sudden,
Jesus Christ. Like,
bippity boppity racist.
Jesus. I mean, Jim, have you watched the news? I mean, Israel's under attack right now. You really shouldn't be saying that kind of stuff. Like, it's just a bit. No, but it's like really hard to just get people to like take off that veneer, you know? And I think especially in private practice, because like if you're working at like a community mental health program, it's a little bit more gritty. Like none of us are in competition with each other. But like in private practice, a lot of times people are like always auditioning for mayor. And it's like even on like the Therapist Las Vegas Facebook group and like shit like that, it's just constantly like, look at me. And it's just like, I don't know, like it becomes very hard to just be human with each other.
Yeah.
Or even like the weird saccharine insincerity that shows up in our field a lot, where it's like everybody just has to be really concerned all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, you'll see somebody post something and be like, oh my gosh, you know, that could be this, or well, that person probably, and it's like, okay, just shut the fuck up. So my answer, writer, is like, I've gotten away from therapy as a place to find friends. But like, this is also a big problem in our field. It gets talked about all the time. It's also one of the reasons that boundary violations happen, because being a therapist is lonely. And it's very human. You're connecting with these people. And a lot of times you're closer to your clients than you are anybody else in your life.
All right.
And this happens where you'll have like your regular and you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen this guy in a while. I'm so excited to find out what's going on. And like you connect with them and it's like, you have a great and sincere connection. And they'll even say like, I feel like we're friends. Or
My
like,
client
in your
just
head, you're
said-
thinking, of course we're fucking friends. I look forward to seeing you all fucking week.
And I'm like, psh.
You're the best. And then like, you know, they leave and you're like, no. And then it's like, you're not allowed to follow them. You're not allowed to be like, oh, we should hang out, or like, oh, this thing. And
I know.
it's tough. And then you're just like, bye. And you just like, they drive away, you know, and you're like, oh, and it's a very lonely
It
thing.
is.
That's what happens.
I had a client last week say that she's like, she sent me a referral. I don't know if they ever reached out. I don't think they have yet. But she's like, oh, just so you know, sent you this referral. And so in the next session, I was like, oh, thanks for that or whatever. And she's like, yeah, you know, I just shared with her, like, you know, it's like we're friends. She goes, I know we're not friends. Like she definitely does the little
Like,
caveat. I know we're
caveat all the
not.
time. I know we're not friends.
She goes, but it feels like that relationship. I'm like, all right, well, I guess the
Good.
job
As long
is
as
done.
you know we're not friends.
Yeah, good. Bitch.
And never forget.
I know, and I can't be like, I feel like we're friends too. I'm just like, okay. Like,
this
just
is
like,
hard
sit
because
with
You
it.
remember your place.
This goes back to
Patient.
Nick's cherry pie example of like the
Go
void.
on. I want to hear more.
Yeah. Like we are humans, and I think this void exists of like, I need friendship too. And then when you don't have that, it actually becomes dangerous for therapists. And I think that that's a real thing for new therapists, or for any therapist that's experiencing a lot of loneliness. It's easy, I think, to just gloss over it and just be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but you know, it'll be okay. For me, I worry about a colleague who's really experiencing that vacancy, because the only humans you see a lot of are your patients. And at some point I worry for the health of that therapeutic relationship, because you have a void, right, in your life, and the cherry pie filling of all these other relationships might start to just naturally fill that void. You may start to glom on to your clients too much, and that can suck. And like, you're not a bad therapist, that happens, you're just a human. So we do have to find those relationships. For me, writer, it is intentionally leaving the field and saying, I am going to go out and do the normal work of trying to like find friendship, going to meetups, going to, game nights at special things, going through friends of friends. Just finding communities like this podcast. Like so many people in our community, you just become real friends with them.
The
which is one of my
Discord is
favorite
incredible.
things.
It's so incredible.
One of my favorite things about this podcast over the almost a decade that we've been doing it now is that I can be friends with these people. They're just listeners.
Yeah.
I have no fucking ethical obligation. I can sleep with all of you. Okay?
And I will.
And I will.
Well, you're in the swingers
There's a
club,
list.
Nick, so watch out.
40.
It's on the fucking list. You're all getting banged. That's so much energy. I don't know. I'd maybe go to the gym a few times, do some push-ups.
Jim will do anything to not get to that 40 for 40 list.
For the listeners. But like, I love that aspect that we'll go to Scoop Fest and like we're having drinks and nachos with all these people that we listen to and talk to online all the time.
Yeah.
And like, we used to have game nights in the Discord. We'd fire up the poker system and like play poker and just talk. And I love that. But it's hard to find organic like friendships as an adult.
Yeah, something that I've done with other therapists, which you can kind of bring in, like each person could bring in someone else, is a little
the swinger club thing again.
Yes, yeah, obviously.
Therapist swinger club. Well, we can all be trusted not to tell. As long as we're billing for it, it's HIPAA.
Yeah.
Who's billing who here?
Whose insurance we're running for this party, guys?
Exposure therapy.
That's right.
I'm exposing myself.
That's right.
So no, it's book club, and so
Lame.
I know
That's way less than I thought it was gonna be.
like once every 3 months. Myself, maybe like 3 or 4 other clinicians will kind of meet up, and usually it's like a common therapeutic book, like Body Keeps the Score, or like, I don't know, just ones that you've kind of heard of because maybe other people have talked about it, but you haven't read it. You're like, all right. But when you talk about kind of the pettiness with certain therapists,
that sounds like the worst thing in the world.
No,
a book club with a bunch of other therapists.
No, it's great until you have the one. See, that's why you keep it small. Here I said like 4, 5 max.
Yeah.
Because then there was one that entered in, and they had a falling out with another clinician there, and so the one left, and they were like, oh, well, if you guys want to do a book club, I still want to do it, but I want to do more like serious or culturally sensitive, like very specific. And I was like, I want some of I would like to read a book or two, but like, don't bash the like lighter therapy book club because that's still valuable. And those are books that I've been wanting to read, like, more generalized, maybe like I don't know.
But now we're shaming that.
It almost like knocked the like
toast.
That wasn't a real therapist, but like we're getting into the real deep stuff.
When you guys
over
are ready
here.
to get hardcore,
kind of. And I was like, ooh. And then I feel like a bad therapist.
Stuff.
I'm like, does
Then
that
we'll
make
get
me
some
not a
heroin.
hardcore therapist? What'd you say, Jacob?
Then we'll get some heroin.
we're gonna upgrade to some hardcore.
They probably did.
Coyote together.
If you want to listen to a real therapist podcast.
Yeah. Enough with this bullshit
do
pod
heroin.
therapy.
Right on the air.
There's a Patreon for it.
I don't think there is.
No, there definitely is.
There's always a number with it.
There's a number where we're all do heroin on the show.
Yeah, they have to prepay for rehab. I think that's part of the deal. We're going to do this responsibly.
Potentially.
Yeah, if needed.
You might not have
if
to.
needed. That's
Yeah.
right.
I don't have an
Never
addictive
know.
personality, so I'm good.
But yeah,
me
no,
either.
I agree with you
Shit.
completely. And this is the thing is like,
Never done
I
meth
like
either.
doing collaborations with other therapists. I like collaborating with you guys. Like, it's great to talk cases and like get feedback, hear how you would answer a question. I love that. But it's so hard to find the right blend in other professionals where they're like useful, they're intelligent, you respect them, but then they're not pretentious. They do not keep this veneer all the time. Yeah. They throw it away. They're self-deprecating. And like, that is just really hard to find. And like, God, it's just the more that I've stepped out of my little, private practice hovel and like gotten back into the world and intermingled more, the more I've been finding that like hanging out with more professional therapists has been difficult. And like hanging out with people that are non-licensed or in other disciplines, a lot easier. Just be like, okay, great.
And you said you struggle with that too, Nick? Finding other clinicians, friends?
Mostly just because like guy friends.
Okay.
Just like Brian, who I worked with,
Love
the
Brian.
first job I had in Vegas, we were the only 2 men in that entire facility.
Right.
It was just
Okay.
the 2 of us.
Yeah.
You know?
It
And
was
so
a
it's like,
women's rehab.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But like it
In
was
fairness, Nick and this other guy were doing that 80s movie thing where they were dressed as women the entire time and just going through all these wacky shenanigans so that people wouldn't find out.
Just a fish out of water
John
experience.
Leguizamo.
I too dislike menstruating.
Yeah. But like one of them was in blackface the whole time. I don't remember which one.
prior to that.
It was
Brian
a
is
different
black.
time.
It was a different time.
The program I worked in Iowa, it was me and there was one other guy that worked there. Other than in management, like the executive director was a male, the CFO was a male.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, all women.
Yeah.
Just one other dude.
Yeah.
And it's been that way in most of the places I've worked. It seems to be female dominated.
It is. Well, statistically, it is.
Yeah.
80% of the field is women.
Yeah,
And it seems to be.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm not against it.
You seem kind of against it.
I don't know, Nick.
I don't know. That's how I heard
A
it.
little sexist.
I think he said
I'm not
women
against
should be
women having
unemployed.
jobs.
Yeah. I think it's cute. I like seeing y'all dressed up in your business clothes.
I'm all for equal rights.
I forgot there
No,
was a
I'm
drop
not.
for that.
The second part.
So it's been tough finding other men to build friendships with. So it's pretty much I've had to do that mostly outside.
Yeah.
And for me, it's a lot of it just has been golf.
Golf.
I mean, like getting into this golf league, I've made a ton of friends, and we hang out outside of golf now.
There's
And
your
we just-
answer, Ryder.
yeah.
Golf.
There you go. I think definitely finding activities,
Yeah.
building friendships around activities and not around work. I think is going to
That
be
to me is the key.
That
And
is,
one of the
yeah.
last things the writer talks about in here, it was a short question, but said, outside of the office, I struggle because I have come to see what they say. They said, outside of my office, I don't feel like I can talk about my job, which has become my primary identity. And that I think is an interesting thing because I think to a person, therapists don't always feel very comfortable talking about our profession with people outside of it because it is nuanced. They usually have a caricature view of it, or they just want to hear the hot gossip, right? They're like,
Yeah.
oh, so tell me about crazy cases. And that's the default posture people want to take with us is like, so tell me stories, right? Or can I ask questions? And if it's not storytelling or question asking, it's hard to relate to my profession at all, right? You just those are the two postures, and it's really tough because the writer says this has become my identity, and so it's hard because I think it is very much an identity thing, but then I think a lot of us have had different ways that we conceal it or push it away. Like you've talked about on the golf course that you just kind of have ubiquitous statements now that you use to just kind of.
I mean, if I'm playing with people I don't know,
Yeah.
like if I get paired up with somebody, I'll just make some shit up. I always say accountant because no one has any follow-up questions.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, cool.
Do
Move
numbers.
on. No, but I do still sometimes I'll get that. But the other times when I'm playing with somebody I know and we're playing with other people or whatnot, and I'm just being myself.
Yeah.
I'm just making stupid, inappropriate jokes and doing all sorts of crazy shit. And then it's usually my friend that's like, this guy's a therapist.
There it is. Yeah, you get outed.
So,
all right, I have a quick Batman story that I think is going to come full circle and it'll make sense in a second. So there's a scene in a comic book where Wonder Woman, who has this thing called the lasso of truth, and so she could throw it around people and they have to tell the truth. It's the best thing ever. And so there's this part where she lassos each of the super friends in the Justice League, and she gets them all or something like that. And she's asking them questions because there's some kind of big thing going on. And so one of the things she says is who are you? Who are you really? And so Superman says Clark Kent, and the Flash
Spoiler.
says, oh, fuck, sorry, I'm sorry. Flash says Barry or whatever the fuck his name is. And Batman says Batman. And it's interesting because the storyline develops and stuff, but it's a quick reference to this fact that Bruce Wayne is not his identity anymore. For him, at least the comic book Batman, he truly is Batman. That is who he wants to be. That's who he is all the time. Bruce Wayne is this playboy billionaire that he pretends to be to allow himself more time to be Batman, right? And so it's all part of being Batman.
In fairness, it's also pretty nice. Just being a billionaire.
Billionaire,
Playboy.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he enjoys the perks.
Yeah.
But yeah, his identity
It's
is
not the
that.
worst thing to have to be.
I tell that story to get back to you. I think that if I had the Wonder Woman lasso of truth, which I'm going to be Wonder Woman for Halloween again this year. So this, we'll do a
that
whole
works out.
rehearsal where I'll throw the lasso around you. It's a lot of fun. But I think that you identify as a
won't.
professional golfer. I think if I was like, well, who are you, Nick Tangeman?
Yes.
I don't think you'd be like, hey, I'm a counselor. I think you'd be like, aspiring professional golfer.
No, I'm just a golfer that hasn't gotten his chance.
That's
yet.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. 100%. Yeah. You're like the guy who's been Hollywood like standby for 10 years and is still bussing tables. And it's like, well, who are you? And he's like, I'm a lead actor. I just, you know, have not had my opportunity. Yeah. I feel like Lasso of Truth, you're going to say something golf
Once the rest
related.
of the world sees.
Yeah, then they'll know.
I'll get my break. Yeah. Semi-pro golfer.
Then they'll know I'm the next Milton Berle.
Making friends
Of
as a
golf.
therapist, though, Whitney, do you tell people that you're a therapist?
Milton
Like, how does
Berle
this
of
come
golf.
out?
I guess I do. I do tell people, and it is annoying sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. People ask. I became a therapist because I like people, though. I kind of want to know their stories. So
Right.
probably I'm a little sadistic in that sense, where I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm a therapist. Tell me your deep, dark
You
secrets.
flow with it.
Yeah.
Sounds like you'll bring it out, and they react however they're going to react, and you know what to do with that. And it doesn't bother you.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me too much. Sometimes, I guess if I really wasn't in a mood to like dig around or, I'm on a flight and I just want to kind of like read my book or whatever, then I just wouldn't talk to the person. But I don't know, like
Right.
making friends, I guess. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to make friends as an adult in general.
Yeah.
Adding on therapist, like that makes it hard. And then I thought where you were going with the writer saying like, this is basically my identity, is just that it's hard to separate that, because I literally just said that, I like talking to people. So
Right.
in some ways it
is
is my
your
identity.
Yeah,
Like
you can't
that's,
turn it off.
I wouldn't do this for, the hours a week that I do it, like, because it's exhausting. It pulls from you. Like, you have to really like this work to do
Right.
it, like, or really enjoy some aspect, whether it's the knowledge, the like coaching aspect, the whatever, like just connecting with people. You have to really love that, in my opinion, to really be okay doing that
I
long
agree.
term. But I don't know. How do you like separate that from friendship? I think it's hard.
It is really hard.
really
Making
hard.
friends is hard, but I do agree with this.
And not
point
being
you
a
made.
therapist in your friendship group.
Yes.
I
like,
just start
not
saying,
doing that.
"Oh, this is
Yeah.
therapy Whitney advice," or like,
You kinda
friend Whitney's
differentiate.
like, "Fuck that hoe."
Yeah. Therapist
like,
Whitney's like, ask questions about how she's feeling. Yeah, right.
a lot of those were going around on like Instagram for a while, and I'm like, this is so relatable.
No, I like giving really terrible advice and then saying that is my therapist advice.
Okay, got it.
Oh,
got
that's
it.
one
Yeah.
strategy.
That way, there's like, I think
They'll
he's really
never
bad
ask.
at his job.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably pay for beers.
Yeah.
He's probably not gonna have a job until
I don't
like
think Nick's gonna make it.
we should probably pick
and
up the tab.
pay for my beer. Yeah.
Not long for this profession. Well, it's a very relatable question, Ryder. And
It
I know
is.
for all of us, like you find these venues that I think for all of us, like, sometimes it's a hybrid of the profession, especially in private practice. Whitney's advice, I think, is very true.
Yeah.
That's like the number one private practice advice people give is find a crew that you can hang out with, that like you can go over cases with.
Non-judgmental and smart.
Yeah, like that you can, get good feedback on, give good feedback, maybe do a book club. Like, I think that over time,
Like a book club or like a real book club?
Kama Sutra on acid.
Yeah,
book
yeah.
club.
Yeah, okay,
we're
good,
doing
good.
the real shit.
No, good. I
We're
want
real
to
in
dig
here.
in. I want to do a real
I
book
wanna
club. If we're
the
going to do a
real.
book club,
Not
I
do
don't want to just do a
pussyfoot Freud
Yeah.
shit. Okay, I want to get into it.
Yeah.
Well, you're the doctor, Jacob. We'll follow your lead.
But that's solid advice. I mean, but yeah, the way that I've been able to sustain the profession is to draw my social energy outside of the profession. Though I do enjoy teaching it, and I've gotten a lot out of like finding opportunity to like get more involved in the industry. But it's just it's increasingly hard for me to do that. And like a lot of the other professionals I meet, I just think, boy, you are insufferable. Like you're so on a mission to be impressive. And like, I think my like vibe is not that. Like as a therapist, I'm trying to be disarming and humanizing. And among colleagues, like, and some people have told me like, and this is a good critique actually, it's a little meta, but I've brought this up before. And I remember having somebody pull me aside and say, not to get like a little too critical of you, Jim, but like there's a white male privilege that you do have, that you don't have to be impressive, that you can throw away credibility whenever you want and be like disarming and humorous and silly and like still
true,
just
yeah.
inherently carry credibility that
That's
the rest
fair.
of us don't
It's
have.
very true.
That was a good
And
point.
yeah, this was a colleague of color, as female, and
Yeah.
said, I need to constantly be on
Like,
or
prove
I'll be
myself.
dismissed. My seat at the table will be taken from me. You can get up and walk around and act like you don't have a chair. And anytime you go to sit, there will be a chair for you. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I take that. I thought that was really good feedback. So
Yeah.
Jim did call her a bitch, though, after she said all that.
Yeah. This was after I had
Poor
said
Jim,
a lot
it's
of
so
weird
lonely.
shit. Yeah. So anyway, good luck, though. Making friends is hard, but if
It
you haven't
is.
gotten involved with our Discord, I strongly encourage it, because
Do
I just
it.
think it becomes this little like island in the internet where people hang out and talk to each other and get closer. So anyway, good question, writer. Thank you for that. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are talking about weight loss journeys. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Robert Brownie Jr., Men's, Kayla Lansbury, Kevin Chamberlain, Ben Stanley, Adam Hathaway, Dan Martin, Liv Heyo, Andrew Langmead, and Chat. God damn it, Chat Bag.
It's 4 letters.
I know, but there's something about, I got to move the order around because something about, I
Nope,
don't know.
it's still going to spell that.
If you would like to
Same
sponsor the
letters.
show, become a therapist at Therapy
Make it a
Producer.
palindrome.
You can become a
At,
therapist.
At patreon.com/therapy. Thank you.
Patreon.com/therapy. Why have we never done that?
And
Why have we
make
never
therapist
printed official
friends.
internet therapy certificates?
I had
We
a
don't want to get
stack
sued.
of PhD
Oh, yeah.
diplomas
You were
to
gonna
hand
issue.
out as scoop
I
files.
did veto that.
They did
Yeah.
just have your name on it.
Yeah.
But
Thank
Yeah.
you for not giving those out. But we should definitely do like life
That
coach
was so
certified
great.
certificates. Like, oh, that's
Yeah.
an easy move. Like,
that's fine.
people will pay for that.
Yeah.
Raise
I
some
mean,
money.
it's a pretty high bar to be a
I
life
know.
coach.
Well, they won't be
Jacob's
like
worked
you. They
very
don't have a
hard.
jingle. They can just
Right.
get a piece of paper.
Or a card.
All right. We're moving on into internet culture trivia.
I think I'm in the lead, though, FYI. Sure. I got 2 for 2, and then I got a steal. So I'm at 5 points. I think at best you
I
guys
feel
are.
like
believe
the
you got
math is
1
not
for 2.
mathing.
I've not missed.
I believe
Jim.
you missed.
What is the first major peer-to-peer file sharing service that was shut down in 2001?
I'm going to shoot from the hip. I think it's Napster.
I have a different guess if he's wrong.
I hope it's Napster.
What's your guess?
LimeWire.
That's also
That
my
came
guess.
later.
LimeWire was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay,
LimeWire
well, it
I
wasn't
remember
right
coming a little
then.
bit
Do you have
later
a
than
guess?
that. And eDonkey was.
Well, no,
another-
like
my
there's
guess was
one-
going to be if Napster wasn't it, I would have said
LimeWire.
LimeWire.
If it's not
There's-
Napster, it's going to be like something that we're all like, oh, only the nerds knew how to use that. Napster was like the
BitTorrent?
first.
Yeah.
like a
Oh,
BitTorrent. Was that
wow.
the answer?
No, Napster
Oh,
was the answer.
okay. Napster,
Oh,
thank goodness.
okay.
Yeah. Another 2 points.
Jacob,
Yeah.
where was Charlie Bit My Finger originally uploaded?
The internet.
Oh.
I can't say he's wrong.
There you go.
I
2
can't
points.
Let's give him 2. Give him 2 and then list the options for fun. But let's
Okay,
give him the
all
2.
right, all right.
Clearly here in the 2.
YouTube, Vine, Facebook, Break.com.
Oh,
Break.com. used to
that
be
might have
great.
been a Vine because it's quick. Vine was the
Vine was
quick one.
very
I'll say
fast.
Vine.
My guess is YouTube.
It was YouTube.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I knew
safe
it's like one of
bet.
the first.
I would have
YouTube
guessed
videos,
Vine
I
as
think.
well.
Did you
Because Vine was like the 7-second one or something, right?
Yup.
Yeah.
Remember the old websites like somethingawful.com and eBombs
Oh
World?
my god!
Yeah, and,
that's
like,
how you could.
board.com.
I always forget. How did we find those random ass videos?
That was you
Oh,
had to
yeah.
go
That
to the
was it.
website.
eBombs World.
ihascheeseburger.com was another
my
one.
Oh, really?
gosh.
These were like the places you'd go to during lunch.
Over Thanksgiving, I went to visit my roommate from college and stayed the night at her house. It was like the best ever. She sent her kids to their grandparents' house, and we just like slept over. And she's like, "All I want to do is go on YouTube and watch old
Oh yeah.
all those old
The
random
throwbacks.
ass fucking videos." And it was
Yeah.
the fucking best.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, ah.
I went down that YouTube rabbit hole of watching old Vines. Because I never had Vine.
I never did.
Vine
either.
was quick.
I just
it didn't,
watched
it didn't
them.
live very
Yeah, it didn't.
long. I did that the other day. I did a YouTube rabbit hole of the old G.I. Joe PSA jokes. That was great. I just rewatched all of them. Like, these
Wow.
are gold. It's so well done.
All right, Whitney. What green digital helper? I don't remember green. Green digital helper often popped up in Microsoft Word,
It wasn't green.
offering to help you write a letter.
It's not.
not-
Don't get distracted by green.
It's not Clippy.
It's got to be Clippy.
Clippy's my
It is
guess.
Clippy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clippy wasn't
Huh.
green. Paper
I
clips
don't
aren't
remember-
green.
I need
don't
to see a
remember it being
picture of
green. I was
Clippy.
thinking it was yellow.
He
I
has
just
yellow
thought
notepad
silver.
behind him, but he's a little paper clip.
Oh.
Yeah, the graphic usually had like a little yellow sticky note, and then he was like,
Yeah,
on
he's just
top
like
of it.
silver.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought. Silver or gray.
Yeah, he's like metal paperclip
Maybe
color.
this is a Mandela thing.
Yeah.
oh,
maybe he is
there's-
green.
They're
I mean,
they're
it's
calling
like yellow
that
legal
green.
pad paper behind him.
Maybe they're calling that
Yeah.
green. It looks. I could see green if you told me green, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
you
Also,
know?
if the AI people want to like make me like them better, let's get Clippy. Like, use Clippy.
Thank you.
That's great. Just
bring back
superpower
Clippy, and you will hook all
I'll
of
be
the
great.
millennial and Gen
Yeah.
X's.
Clippy's
Yes.
like, I need your social security number and your mother's maiden
Yes,
name. I'll be
Clippy,
like,
we
yeah,
love
okay,
you.
Clippy. We go way back. Like,
Yeah.
shit, you've written a lot of shit for me. So
ChatGPT
points.
says that Clippy is gray.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. There we go.
All right.
I'm in the lead. Last question of the night, weight loss journey. Starting out, I was a 6'4", 350, or I was at 6'4", 350 pounds. I was finally able to get the VA to prescribe me Wegovy. The intense change in my gut biome wrecked me something fierce, with my gut brewing bread and my tail spitting fire. I was losing weight, finally, with the weight coming off Nick's challenge to lose the weight and a certain politician lying on his medical checks. I had a goal weight. I will lose enough to equal what he said he was. My goal weight is 225. I believe that is the weight of Donald Trump on his license.
Yeah, something like that.
The Wegovy alone got me to 270. I have started to walk a minimum of 5,000 steps a day. It hurts. It sucks. It's helpful. I've realized that the reservoir of energy I have to walk has grown simply by doing it. As Jack LaLanne put it, your health account, your bank account, they're the same thing. The more you put in, the more you can take out. Exercise is king and nutrition is queen. Together, you have a kingdom. The joy I have with that much weight off is noticeable, especially when people I know are commenting, wow, you've lost weight, you're looking good. My depression is still strong, but my two brains are in an even match now, when previously the depression was a sumo wrestler and the happy was a flyweight. P.S. I have already been calling you all my weekly therapists. Thank you for all your help you've given me over the years, especially Dr. Life Coach Jacob.
You're welcome.
Signed, Winter's Scoop. A good letter here. A good letter.
Yeah.
It sounds like more of a statement of like, hey, update about my life, and here's my journey in a nutshell, and talking about the mental health component of this. But I like that bank account metaphor. Mm-hmm. The more you put in, the more you can withdraw later. Mm-hmm. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I we kind of talked about this, I think, in a recent show. Okay, so you were at 350, now 270, if
Right.
I'm understanding this correctly.
Sounds like
And
the
that's
drug
from the Wegovy.
Yeah, it sounds like the drug
and-
knocked off about 75 pounds right off the bat without a whole lot of working out.
The goal's
Yeah.
another 50 down.
Right.
Okay.
6'4".
What I would suggest,
In
if you
walked her
can-
daddy, standing 6'4", said, ain't gonna swing with my daughter no more.
Mm-hmm.
She's my cherry pie. Tied it all together.
Mic drop.
Nice.
Big circle.
I'm
That's why
impressed.
he's a professional.
Shit, I got to change the title to
I remember
Cherry
the height
Pie.
of the
The
dad on the
ladies
song
be
Cherry
cream.
Pie.
What is it?
I
Ladies,
think you need to leave
ladies
the
are
title.
cream.
Yeah.
So, okay, so
Ladies be creepy.
that's 80 pounds.
That's
Yeah.
so much. I was like, that's almost
That's 80
100
pounds.
pounds.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you should go around, like go to a gym or something,
Oh, my
grab an 80
Yeah.
pound dumbbell.
gosh.
Walk
Just walk around.
Yeah, I mean,
feel that.
and just be able to
You're
feel.
going to discover that you just can't.
You can't.
That's
yeah.
probably what you're going to discover. Like, you're going to go pick up an 80-pound dumbbell and be like, I can't just carry this around.
Yeah, yet you were.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and I think that's what's so amazing. Do that every once in a while just to keep motivation and realize that, like, you know, if this was
No
what.
wonder my knees feel better.
Yeah, exactly. And what's the next 80 pounds going to feel like, you know? Well, there's not going to be 80. You're not going down that far. But, I mean, but you're going to notice that. And the other thing, too, that I always encourage people to do is as they're losing weight, continue to stay active, you know, because that's one of the
Yeah.
biggest things that happens is, you know, people will lose the weight and they feel good, but the lifestyle never changes.
Right.
And then they pretty much just put it back on. You know, take advantage of what it's like to be in a smaller body.
Right.
And,
yeah.
you know, go hiking.
Buy
Go-
smaller seats on airplanes.
Yeah,
Right.
go, you know, go bicycling. Go do all the fun things that you would have done in the past that you weren't
Rent
able
a
to do.
subcompact car.
This is a
Yeah.
really good point. Like, so we just went to Mount Charleston this weekend. The last time we went was 2 years ago. And so I was pulling up old pictures because we were trying to figure out, like, oh, what did we pack? Like, what was that like? And so, like, yeah, definitely saw me 50 pounds heavier, you know, at a minimum.
Yeah.
And, like, we were on this long hike and we were just talking about it. And I was, like, realizing this is so much easier. Like, I remember the same trail. I remember what I was feeling 2 years ago. I remember having a really hard time with it. And, like, I'm not carrying 50 pounds. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so much lighter. For me, it was also an opportunity to make it a lifestyle because the method I was using was slow and like grueling. but like it changes you like mentally because like you're just going through that. Wegovy and Ozempic and stuff, I think really gives you that awesome assist where you're bringing that satiety way up. Yeah. And so you're not craving and like you're just feeling fulfilled. And I think you're learning how to fill your life and your time differently, especially learning to break the bond between eating and emotion.
Yes.
And so it's a huge opportunity, like you said, Nick, to like get into your new body, keep up that activity, build new behaviors and habits, and also just discover the new version of you. Mm-hmm. If you can do that, I think the weight continues to fall off. I think you can keep it off. But I like that advice. Mm-hmm. So this is an opportunity to experience life at a different weight and then kind of live in that new identity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Something that stuck out to me, first of all, amazing.
Yes,
way to go.
congratulations.
I am just wildly impressed with that. It's such a hurdle, losing weight. It can be a struggle. So way to go. What I loved about your letter was you mentioned that your depression is still strong, but your two brains are in an even match now.
Right.
And this is something when I talk with clients about who are in extreme depressive episodes, I will sometimes mention, and I throw a caveat out there. I'm like, look, I know this is basic bitch therapy. I literally will like use that term. This is basic bitch therapy. Right. You're like, have you gone outside and put your face in the sun for 5 or 10 minutes?
Right.
Have you moved your body? Like, I don't even care what it is. I don't care if you're walking in circles in your
rob
living
a
room.
bank, but just run.
Exactly.
Don't do it digitally.
Just share it with me, whatever you take.
That's right. Yeah, pay your bills.
Exactly. But I go over the basics and I'm like, here's the deal. Work, like exercise, eating better, all these things. We go over those things, not because I think, oh, that's going to cure your depression. It's not, but it helps.
Yes.
It helps make days feel a little more bearable, not so deep in this hole. Maybe it's still a little dark. It's still a little dim, but you're not so far down that it just feels like hopeless.
Yeah.
And so it's like setting that expectation. But I just love the way you worded that. I'm going to steal it. So.
The two brains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're in an even match now.
Well, I was just going to say, I've talked about this before too, but I really kind of look at like when you talk about overall mental health, I look at it as like 3 legs on a stool.
Old man Nick's analogy.
Old 3-leggy Nick. That's what they used to call him in high school.
Yeah.
3-leggy
3-leg
Nicky.
Tansman's coming around.
They did.
Hello, ladies.
Defrost the corn dog.
Just call him the stool.
Watch him do this trick with a corn dog. He eats it in one bite. He just comes out with stick. It's crazy.
But not with what you think it is.
But can he tie a cherry stem?
He can tie the corn dog stem. He can tie the stick into a knot.
He ties it into a knot.
Very talented.
No, I can whittle a horse.
Just like, all these women are just fanning their face. Oh my
It's
god!
from years of just picking and eating corn right out of the field.
That's right.
Just raw.
All the farm hands are just staring at him.
That snort was with me.
I haven't done it on here yet. Dang it.
Okay, the 3 legs.
Oh, go back to that. Yeah, sorry.
Psychopharmacology,
Yeah.
psychotherapy, and exercise.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, can you address mental health issues with just one?
Right.
Not very often.
We call it the pogo
Can you-
stick approach.
Yeah. Can you do it
Very,
with?
very precarious, that one.
Can you do it with 2? Yeah, a lot of
Right.
people have tried, but 3
Stilts.
is still going to be the most effective.
I love that we're starting to see the term psychophysiology being used more and more. And there's a lot more research coming out and a lot more. See, the research, I think, has been saying this for a long time. We're seeing more and more research about it. But now the profession is starting to catch up to feeling more comfortable talking about it. Because it used to be this thing we just never brought up, you know?
Right.
And like feeling more competent in it and like cross-pollinating with, trainers and like people that are out there doing a little bit more. I think that's tremendous. And it's a big part of this. So the tripod thing is absolutely true. It's interesting because I remember my anxiety was notably different after a lot of the weight came off. And I remember just noticing that and not really sure what to make of it. And then one day I saw research come through on Medscape that said there's a percentage of body fat and abdominal fat in particular that is associated with severe anxiety. I was like, what the fuck? And I opened this up and I'm like starting to learn about it. I'm like, that is the wildest thing. Like I would never have thought those two things have anything the fuck to do in common. Like you'd think of obesity being a lot more associated with depression because like that seems more cyclical to us. But it was fascinating to realize like, yeah, there's this whole like area of research that was finding a lot of connection between specific kinds of abdominal fat and like fatty liver disease, things like that, which I absolutely had, and like severe anxiety, and just the way that it was inhibiting certain like transmitters and hormone levels, and then making you much more vulnerable to, like, if you have that disorder, which I have, GAD, having more episodes and having more panic attacks. I just like, that is so fascinating to me, right? So it's so interesting how all this is interrelated.
Yeah, because like the brain, if you think of it like a pharmacy, where it's got all of these chemicals that are all supposed to be working together.
Yeah.
And when your body changes how the mixture of those chemicals.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's really
also
interesting.
another cool Monday deep dive series that you could launch is psychophysiology.
Yeah,
and just like small like take-ons of like, okay, today let's talk about anxiety, something you don't think has anything the fuck to do, with anything fitness related. Let's talk about that. That'd be a really cool breakdown. So
I did it already, but
I was like, nobody's ever talked about anxiety and
you never called it psychophysiology. I'm giving you a cool buzzword. Use that
cool.
buzzword. Anyway, Winter Scoop, congratulations. I love reading letters where people are managing their mental health, hitting personal health goals. I like this idea of the health bank account. I'm totally stealing that. It totally makes sense. And I think that totally is something that we want to steal from and use. So anyway, love hearing this. It's a little bit more of a letter than a question, so we'll leave it there. But
which is great for us because we knock those out of the park.
Yeah, we're doing really good. I think all of our answers were terrific on those.
We're batting 1,000 with those.
Yeah, never miss. Never miss. We're taking
if you
a quick
don't need
break.
anything from us, we're great.
We're coming back. We are closing out the show. You are listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Robert Brownie, Jr. Mintz, Kayla Lansbury, Kevin Chamberlain, Ben Stanley, Adam Hathaway, Dan Martin, Lib, Heyo, Andrew Langmead, and Chad May.
Well done, buddy.
Would you like to sponsor the show? You can become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you think this podcast could get me disqualified from jury duty? If I show up with a Pod Therapy hat or something and then Google it?
Probably.
I feel like that's
I doubt it.
Really good reason not to sit me for
There are other hats
Probably.
you could show up with that would be more effective.
When this
Swastika
episode
hats.
drops on Wednesday, because that's when the Patreon version episodes drop, they are extended, they are ad-free, and the Discord chat starts immediately whenever the episodes drop. It's always really fun to get into the Discord and chat it up with other people, hear their takes on questions, hear their personal stories that were stimulated by questions. Sometimes the authors of questions are in the chat, and they are following up with more deets and filling out, here's how the host's advice, works or doesn't work, and here's more information. It's a really cool place. I will also be live chatting my entire jury experience, which, by the time this episode drops will have happened on Monday. And let's get picked for a fucking trial, then I guess it could drag out all week.
Right.
But I don't think I'm allowed to sit there.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't live tweet your jury.
Like, oh my God, this guy's doing like fucking guilty, LOL. All these OJ gifs.
I just imagine holding up your phone. Hey, everybody, checking in.
What's up, chat?
Feels like a good way to get out of jury duty.
Right? They're just going to throw me out. It's your boy, Jim. So anyways, we wrap up the show. We want to remind you, patreon.com/therapy. This show is people powered. You are the ones that make it possible. Sign up, get that extended show ad-free a day earlier, join our Discord community, and also enjoy our weekly installments. We do weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research roundups, and rants. It's on all sorts of different topics, all sorts of different things of our interests, and we usually pump those out on Mondays and kind of start your week with a little bit more of a knowledgeable experience. A lot of fun stuff there. But I think we've got some new friends to welcome to the Theraparty. Who is new at patreon.com/therapy?
We have a new Therapod. Listetition.
I love that name. Listetition. Oh, it's really cool.
Welcome to the show. Cool. And we've got a new Pterodactyl, Adam Warren.
Welcome.
Welcome, fam. And of course, we'd like to thank the benevolent, revered, generous, and flagrantly pro-therapy diehards who love you all so much, they give till it hurts. The Therapartners, Dirty B and Pickett. And we want to thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Theraproducers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Myra, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Smitty Scoop, Richard fucking Macy, Judy Schneider, Malia, Leon Kassab, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Dan Martin, Sammy Scoop, Slurpikai motherfucker, Ben Stanley slapping your face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, Mike Helm, Oscar Swanrose, Paris, a Sunny Boy, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Sindra McWaffle, Team Monaco, Thunder, Cougar, Falcon, Hurdy Dirty Dirty, Hey Yo, Hannah Marie, Andrew Langmead, Emma and Tonka, and Pony Soprano, Alina, Cody DeLorean Guy, Brady Malachek, Chick Fellatio, Gabriel Adame, Sean Sutherland, Max the Ginger Scoop, Chad Mag, not hard to say, and Adam Warren.
Would you like to hear this episode uncut and unedited?
And why wouldn't you?
I think they should have done it as a question.
And why wouldn't you?
And enjoy our spontaneous side projects? Go to patreon.com/therapy and thank you for supporting mental
Health? That's all the
Mental
time
health?
we've got for this week's session. We want to thank our landlords. Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social. Thanks to those of you who contributed to the show today. We really appreciate it. Remember, Pod Therapy is something to keep all to yourself. Share the episode with the world. Tag us on the socials when you do. You'll find us at Patreon. You'll find us at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. Pod Therapy on Facebook and Blue Sky. And don't forget all the extra goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show?
And why
I guess
wouldn't
that was
you?
already
You're doing great.
Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net. Email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com or click the link in the episode description to be taken to our anonymous Google form. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm looking for more movie suggestions.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
I feel like there's got to be like a lot of these classics, but they're not like classics, but they're like good movies, you know, like not Iron Eagle, but and actually none of your suggestions were reasonable.
I could flirt
Mine
with
were
all the
awful.
guys, smile at them and bat my eyes, press against them when we dance, make them think that they stand a chance, then refuse to see it through.
What?
That's a thing I'd never do.
That's the thing
Grease
I'd
lightning.
never
Yep.
do.
More lyrics from Grease.
Love it.
Oh, gross. All right. Goodbye,
Well,
everybody.
They couldn't teach you anything. You think you're such a looker, but no customer would go to you unless you were a hooker.
Shut the fuck up. This is in Greece?
Yes.
Yeah, that
Beauty
was
school
Beauty
dropout.
School Dropout.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Unless
yeah.
you are a hooker.
That's
Oh,
also like
wow.
they're like, oh, you could just go back to high school and then you
Yeah.
can at least get a job in the steno pool.
What's
the stenographers?
Yeah,
Wow.
like taking notes for men doing business.
Business.
wow? Very business.
Business.
Bye, everybody.
Business.
The chicks will cream.